Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, I did the story the other day about the fact that the SNP had so badly screwed up the legislation regarding business rates relief on businesses that were no longer functioning. Basically, they were charging business rates even though they were for businesses that were dormant, effectively, or um, properties that weren't occupied, etc. This is actually against the law. And so the SNP found themselves, thanks to basically under Sturgeon's reign, having taken £400 million of business rates that they weren't entitled to. And so they were trying to sneak in this law, which meant that they didn't have to pay it back. Shh, we'll put it in quietly. We'll change it now and then hope that nobody notices. But of course, because it's the SNP and everything they do is deeply scrutinised, of course, this only highlighted it. The fact that we're trying to be sneaky about it highlighted the problem. Well, their attempt to rectify what can only be described as a catastrophic blunder, trying to basically keep the 400 million that they've illegally taken, is without legal basis. Out with the law, as the Tories have now warned. It is one of those things that they're trying to sneak through because they just don't have £400 million. Now, Murdo Fraser has pointed this out, and he says that actually the European Convention on Human Rights actually does have a line about this. And he said it's clear, according to that rule, that citizens have the right to recover money unlawfully levied by the state, which this was, clearly, unambiguously. For the state now to try and sneak this law through to stop it is a crime against humanity, effectively. It's against the human rights of those people involved. Now, this mistake was spotted over the summer, and officials estimated that a one-off refund would cost the taxpayer between 350 and 400 million, and the longer it goes on, of course, the more it'll be. And then the emergency legislation has been tabled for today, later on today. But opponents are accusing the SNP of trying to sneak it through, and they're trying to push it through, if you see, at the same time as all the eyes are on Westminster with the budget. Today's a good day to sneak out bad news kind of thing. Now, the Conservative MSP Murdo Fraser has now written to the presiding officer to say that he's seriously concerned with the retrospective aspect of this that would actually fall outside of Holyrood's legislative competence. He says that the charges levied in owners of unoccupied property since the 1st of April 2023 and were taken without a valid legal basis, which we've covered. Those affected, therefore, hold a clear patrimonial right in Scots law to seek repayment under what's called unjustified enrichment of the state, and the bill retrospectively extinguishes that right in order to protect public finances, which is wrong. A retrospective bill in most cases is wrong. There's very, very few times when you can actually argue a retrospective case should be right. But he says the non-domestic rates liability for unoccupied properties Scotland bill removes the right to repayment solely to avoid the fiscal consequences of its own errors. And this, he argues, is in a breach of the European Convention of Human Rights. And he's right. So, what's the SNP going to do now? Find 400 million and pay it back, or risk being prosecuted under the Human Rights Act, which actually carries potentially limitless fines, but in guarantee it'll be at least 400 million because the fine will incur the cost of actually repaying these people. It's a tough one, isn't it? I reckon that the SNP will probably fight it, be told by their lawyers he can't win, but still fight it out of the principle, and it'll end up costing 600 million. Because SNP. Let me know what you want. Thanks a lot. Bye.